So, Inga, we've been working together for 18 months now, and we've been friends for about 15 years.
Yeah.
So, we've known each other a really long time. So, why did you come to see me, and what were your health concerns?
So I had a variety of health concerns. I've always had issues with my weight, but that was an underlying problem with wanting to not get diabetes, which we have in a family.
Mm.
So my main concern is about being healthy and yeah, definitely wanted to lose weight. I had all sorts of weird gastric problems, weird reflux, different sort of things. I've had lots of hormone problems, although I've been working on them for many years, so they were sort of stabilizing a bit, but still altogether, when we started working, I was very unhappy. I remember that, and I was
Mhm.
thinking, why is everything so hard? I tried so many different things. And yeah, so that's why I thought, let's give Andy a try. I saw your posts and saw your things that you said and stuff, and I thought, you know what? Let's try something completely different for a change.
Brilliant. And so, your target was to lose 20 kilos. And for the first time in 16 years, after 18 months, you've now dipped below your initial target, which is
Yeah,
just amazing. I'm so happy for you. And you've achieved this alongside living your life. You've been
yeah,
on various holidays, you've been eating out, you've had fun whilst doing it,
yeah.
and you've done so well, and you look absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
So, you told me you'd seen doctors and other nutritionists, and you'd even seen professionals that work with athletes, elite athletes,
Yeah.
but you still couldn't shift that weight. So, how would you say I work differently?
Yeah, so one of the things was, so everybody I saw, I did usually have some success. So it would work for a little while or up to a certain point and stuff. But also sometimes it was simply too hard. So the
Mm.
athlete guy, for example, honestly, yeah, I wasn't even allowed to eat tomatoes because they were too sugary. And I'm like, oh my God, if you can't eat tomatoes in a normal health, I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
So there was an element of, maybe if I had done everything he said, I would have also lost weight. But like you said before, it was really important to me that I also could live my life
mm,
relatively normally.
mm,
And so I remember when we started, I told you, like, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that
yeah,
and I want to be able to do. And you were like, okay, all right. But what was really nice is that you really listened to that. And whenever you present me with ideas and suggestions of things they can do, they are just that. They're ideas and suggestions. You
yeah,
say, well, this generally works, but see if you're willing to do it. And I think the biggest difference, and it was partly me, partly you, maybe how you said it, I don't know, but there was just some sort of trigger in
mm,
my head where I started to think about it differently. And I was like, I could do this. One of the things you said about, cut down ultra processed food. And I really like my little meatballs that I used to buy. And suddenly it was like, I can just make them myself. And
mhm,
it was that sort of thought process where I thought, I can do this. But you never forced me and you never made me feel bad about, I had to do this diet log. And you would just say, oh, okay, that's a bit processed and this a bit that, but not like, well, I could see why you haven't lost any weight. Nobody likes to be told off. And I think the thing with you is that you have a gentle yet firm, very
mm.
important, way of presenting the options to people, and that has been the difference. So, of course, I have done all the hard work. I do know that,
Yes,
but it's you have helped me and also given me some different things to do, because, funnily enough, just like many other people who will be watching this, I had tried eating less and exercising more, but that wasn't doing it. So, yeah, I don't know if I answered the question because I already forgot the question, but yeah,
yeah,
that's,
you absolutely did, Inga, and
yeah.
that's brilliant because you're right. We have to live life,
Hmm.
and you can't be strict every day, all of the
No,
time. I don't personally want to be lying on my deathbed wishing I'd enjoyed food a little more,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But there's a balance, as you've
yeah,
said, and it's a mindset thing, and it's a lifestyle change.
yeah,
And you, as a business coach, know that, and you've
yeah,
coached your clients in that. It's about changing your mindset and
yeah,
making it a habit. So that's really wonderful. And just teaching you the tricks and how your body works.
Mm,
And then when you know how your body works, you can then make changes and manipulate it
yeah,
in order to do what you want it to do.
yeah.
So that's
And
brilliant. And
and it becomes a choice. So,
that's
I
it.
can kind of go like occasionally I would like, I'm having this. I know it's not good for me. I know it's either going to give me trouble or it's, whatever. But I'm deciding to have it anyway because it's a very conscious choice, as opposed to I'm having it because actually I think it's healthy and it isn't at all. So the knowledge, I think the two things that I like about working with you is the input, lots of knowledge, lots of information. This is what it does, and this is why, and this is how it works. And then the gentle but firm. So if you want to change something, well, then you could change this, but it's up to you. And not overwhelming either. You said from the very start, we're going to start with this. There's loads more I've got up my sleeve, but we'll do that later. And that was comforting as well, because of course, with any sort of diet or anything like that, everybody always, you hit the plateau and then you kind of go, oh, now what, and just do more of it.
Right.
So it always felt like, and it still feels like, there's more we can do. And it's up to me to decide when I want to do that.
Mm.
And that works really well. It's again, there's not that sort of, you must do this, and otherwise you will be put against the wall and you will be shot. So that's not happening.
There is. That's brilliant. Yeah, it's just about working with you, isn't it?
Mm,
And giving you the
yeah,
information.
yeah,
And there's a lot of, I don't like the word misinformation, but there is a lot of incorrect information out there about health. And when you know what's true and what's not, and what's right and not, then you can work with your body.
well, and also with my body,
Yeah.
because, the generic advice isn't applicable to everyone. I've always known that, people are different. And yes, there are
Mm,
lots of things that are similar and that will work for different people. But, one of the big things that you told me was about the stomach acid because, I had all this
mm,
reflux problems and stuff. And, that advice is very specific to me. So when people ask me now, like, oh my God, you've lost loads of weight, how have you done that? I say, well, lots of different things, but it's specific to me. So, certain things will be, a good advice for everyone.
that's it.
But I feel like it's specific to me, and that is also really, really good, I think, that you don't just go, right, here's my program, there you go, follow it, and you'll be fine. I felt really, listened to.
I'm really glad to hear that, because
Mm.
that's important. You're a human being and you need to be
Yeah,
heard. And
yeah,
and I hear that a lot. People who go to Western medicine, they're not heard. They're given a prescription,
yeah,
which is, one size fits all.
yeah,
And I don't believe in pharmaceuticals anyway, but
mm,
it's that prescribed way of doing things.
yeah,
And you're right, it's personalized. And that leads us on really nicely to my next question, because I asked you to start with, before we started working together, to fill in a really long questionnaire, which I know is a pain in the backside. But what's interesting is it gives me really valuable insight into your health. And then it allows me to be able to personalize it to your situation and what your body is doing.
yeah.
What did you think of that questionnaire?
Yeah, it was like, I mean, I think it took me 3 months to fill in, not because it takes that long, but I was just like, oh God, so many questions. And also, oh, I don't know, asking about my parents' health
Mm,
conditions and stuff like that. So I had to ask and or check and stuff. Um, and of course, some things, oh God, I don't even remember. But it
mm,
was really, again, it's really good because I do, like you said, I've worked with many different people, and I'm a great believer in sort of what they call alternative uh, therapies and stuff like that. And again, it's always about the whole body, so you can't just look at one thing. I mean, I remember years ago, I mean, what I touched on the hormone problems, I was dealing with infertility, and it just said, oh right, well there you go, you can take this. I said, what does that do? Is that it will I don't know, it was to do with ovulation or something. I said, but why am I not ovulating? Oh, we don't
right,
know that, but this will. And I'm like, okay, but I would like to know why, and then we can
of
work
course.
on that. And that's the thing, of course, that whole questionnaire, annoying though it was. So if somebody's listening to this, it is annoying, I can tell you that,
You're
but
not
it's
the only
worth it.
one. Yeah.
It's worth it, and taking your time over it. because that's when you go like, oh, hey, I noticed this or I noticed that. And I think that's important. If you want a quick fix, then don't work with you. I mean, that's basically what it is. But if you want it properly done, then, go and see Andy.
Thanks, Singer. That's
What is
that's
that?
perfect. So if there's something I am, it's thorough.
Yeah,
And I want to know why, and I want to know what's
yeah,
going on.
yeah.
Um, and and that's why people come to me, because unfortunately, the way that Western medicine works is they cannot tell people why they're sick. So what that questionnaire does for me is it asks you every inch of every part of your life,
Mm.
and anything to do with your health,
Yeah,
which allows me to see the full picture of your health if you complete it properly as best as you
yeah,
can. Maybe you don't know about your maternal grandmother and whether or
yeah,
not she had cancer, but as much information as can be provided is really helpful because I can get a complete picture.
yeah.
And I was able to pick up things that other doctors or other practitioners wouldn't have necessarily picked up
Mm,
had they not been so thorough with the
mm.
questionnaire.
Yeah,
And I can then tell people why they're sick, what's happening in their body, and then we can work on how to fix it.
yeah,
It's not a stab in the dark approach where I take this pill and let's see how you feel,
yeah,
which is what Western medicine is,
yeah,
unfortunately. So I'm really glad that it gave you answers to questions that you've had for a long, long time,
yeah,
and that we were able to resolve your issues. That's
yeah.
brilliant. And now I think you can see the worth of spending the time on that questionnaire. It is a long
Absolutely.
one,
Yes.
but it's worth it. So I suspect you've never really been asked all those questions before, and were you surprised at how much is involved with your health and how much I could see from the questionnaire?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's a while ago now, so and I tried to block it out. But I remember things about like, whether things to do with my toenails or whether I had itchy eyes and like so
Mm,
many lots of different things. And yeah, so surprised, and on the other hand, also not surprised. We are
mm.
complicated beings. It's a miracle we function, and we function in a world where there's so much, going on, and it's no surprise. So I'm a big fan of looking after this beautiful machine that we've been given to, help us live a life. So yeah.
I love that, Inga. You're spot on.
Mm.
We are incredible creatures,
Mm.
and it's amazing that we are here
Yeah,
and functioning, especially with the toxicity that we're
yeah,
experiencing these days. It's a major driver of disease now, is
yeah.
toxicity. It's not something that's understood by Western medicine at all,
Mhm.
and many practitioners don't understand the gravity of
Mm.
how toxic our environment is.
Yeah.
For example, toxicity leads to dementia.
Mm.
People don't know that. It's not understood in Western medicine, and it's certainly not dealt with. Western medicine does not treat
Yeah.
toxicity in any form. Yeah, you're right. And there's little questions like, do you have itchy eyes? Are you experiencing muscle cramps? They're really important because they indicate nutritional deficiencies,
Mm.
which is really, it's really helpful for me
Yeah.
to help people get better
Yeah.
because we live in a very nutritionally deficient environment as well. Our food isn't as nutritious as it used to be,
Yeah.
even 50 years ago. And you can tell that from the flavor of food as well. It just
Mm.
doesn't taste how it used to when we were younger. And that's because
Unless
it doesn't.
unless you go to Italy and you eat their beautiful tomatoes, which I had lots of, and lemons, and yes, you just kind of go, oh my God, that's how it's supposed to taste.
Me too. And it was only
Yeah.
yesterday that I was munching on those
Yes.
tomatoes in
Yeah.
Italy. So 100%, other countries do produce food better than we do. But we can tell that from when we grow our own food or when we perhaps buy better quality organic foods. It tastes better, and
Yeah.
the taste and the flavor is in the nutrients.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so brilliant. And so from your responses, I was able to identify and explain what was happening in your body.
Mhm.
And I was able to teach you how to overcome those problems by getting to the root cause of the issues.
Mhm.
And I produced various action plans, which we've talked on briefly, and strategies for you each time we met. Um, and your lifestyle is absolutely excellent. If there's anyone that I know that is really well connected with friendships around them and a good quality of life, good quality work-life balance, it's you, and you're very active, which is
Mm.
wonderful. So we mainly concentrated on nutritional supplementation to support some nutritional deficiencies, which I do have to say, it's not your fault. Our food isn't nutritious, and
Mm.
we're not taught how to support our bodies.
Hmm.
We also looked at dietary changes, and we brought in some detoxification strategies for you, didn't we?
Yeah.
You'd had some heavy metal exposure as a child,
Mhm.
and also, as I said, we just live in a very toxic world nowadays.
Yeah.
So, what did you think about the action plans?
Yeah, well, they were actionable. So I found like I said before, you didn't overwhelm me with it. You know, if you told me everything I'm doing now straight at the beginning, I probably would have gone like, oh, in fact, I was very against taking any supplements. I'm against taking
Yeah,
anything. So you kind of talked me into it, but we didn't start off like that, and that's what I really liked is you made it all doable and in my control, which is really important for me specifically. Some people might like to be told what to do, but I don't. Even if I pay people to tell me what to do, I still don't like it.
mm,
So everything was very doable. And then you added a little bit when I wanted more. And I said, oh, what would that do? Same with the supplements and stuff. The exercise, I know there's more I can do, but I know I've got a good balance as well. And again, it needs to fit in with my life. So yeah, no, I thought it was doable. If you want it, you do have to really want to make the changes though, because um, I did make big changes. I hardly ever buy anything ready-made now. And you know, yeah, make much more stuff myself, eat differently. I have all those supplements. Um, I don't know. It's just it was still big differences, but it doesn't feel like it. It still feels like I have my normal life. So that's really, really good. So yeah, very doable.
that's brilliant. And that's what it should be. It's a
Mm.
lifestyle change.
Yeah,
And bring it into your regular daily pattern.
yeah.
And that's brilliant. I'm really pleased to hear. Um, so I remember to start with, as you said to me, you weren't convinced that you were going to be able to lose the weight. So how has it gone working together?
Yes, it's gone really well. I'm just conscious it says my internet connection is unstable, so I hope it will continue to come across. Um, Yeah, no, it's gone really well. I mean, I started off by losing weight, but that you kind of expect because when you are quite badly overweight, you normally lose the weight in the beginning. But yeah, no, it's gone really well, and it's always the case when you see results, it's easier to stick to the plans. I
Yeah.
remember doing Weight Watchers years ago, and many, many years ago, and it worked, brilliant, great. Then, like 10 years later, I put on weight, and I thought, right, I'm going to try it again. I stuck to it religiously for 6 weeks, and nothing happened. I
Yeah.
mean, then you just think, well, sod it, I'm not going to go and follow this plan. But when a plan works and it works for you, then it's fun. It's like fun kind of getting on the scales and going, oh my God, no, more
Brilliant.
weight loss. So, um, but it isn't also just a weight loss. It's really important to me. The weight loss is brilliant and it's lovely and was very, very necessary. But I have loads of energy. I've had one tiny little cold when everybody was struck down with this 3 week massive lung semi-bronchitis, pneumonia thing. I
Yeah.
didn't have anything. I've
Mm.
had a very, very stressful time emotionally with my dad, nothing to do with the food or anything. But again, despite that, I am still healthy and energetic, and I sleep well. I have energy to exercise, and that's really important. I feel really healthy, and okay, I've lost some weight as well. Brilliant. It's an outward sign, um, but the most important thing is that I just feel really healthy, and that's always been my main driver.
Mm.
Even if I'd felt really healthy and still had the weight on, but I'd felt really good, I would have been happier than when I started, when I wasn't feeling good. That was the thing. I wasn't sleeping well. I was feeling lethargic.
Mm.
I was just not well. So, um, yeah, it's been really brilliant. And as you well know, I have recommended you to various people and I said, listen,
Yeah.
if you feel stuck, if you feel you've tried everything, and you're still not getting anywhere. I mean, obviously, ideally, just go straight to you, but that's not how it works. And I think you know that, and I know that. You
Mm,
want to try other things first, easier things. Um,
that's it.
but actually, anybody smart who just says, actually, I want to, let's say I'm 45 now or something, and I want to be a healthy 85-year-old. Well, start now then. Start now and find out what you need to do so that you can be a healthy 85-year-old. And I'm very much planning to do that. Um, Oh, did we freeze a little bit? I'm very much planning to be a healthy 85-year-old, to still be doing lots of walking, to still have, good joints and be able
Mm,
to get up from the chair without, and to not have dementia, which both my parents have. So, but I'm refusing to accept that that is my path.
yeah.
So I'm like, no, I'm doing things now, and I feel that with your help, that is, I know you don't give guarantees and you can't. That's fine. I'm
No.
not asking that of anybody, but it's just it feels like I've got someone by my side who can help me reach my goals, which is to live a healthy and happy life, however long that is.
Oh, I love that, Inga. Thank you. That's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it matters so much to me that people
Mm.
feel well, that they're able to enjoy life. You
Yeah.
can have all the holidays in the world, but if you're not well to enjoy them and appreciate them, then life just isn't worth living. And you're right, it's not easy to be well. Um, that's why, unfortunately, Western medicine, people go for a quick fix, they go for a pill, and that doesn't ever get to root cause. Pills don't
I
cure.
know it's funny. We
Um,
haven't spoken about the weight loss jabs, but I can just imagine what you think about them. And I too would never want. I know somebody who says, "Oh, just use that. It's easy." I was like, "No, no, it's just not.
absolutely,
It's not
absolutely,
what
Inga.
it's not what I want, and it's not. I'm sure it's not the right thing. I'm sure it has all sorts of horrific side effects that people will find out about in 5 years' time."
Exactly. They're
Yeah,
very damaging, not only in the
yeah,
current whilst you're using them, but in the future. They cause
yeah,
cancer, dementia, all sorts of horrible conditions, as
yeah,
do many of the toxic
yeah,
medications on the market.
yeah,
You're 100% right, and that's not getting to root cause.
yeah,
Unfortunately, people aren't taught how to be healthy, as we said. They're not taught how to live.
yeah,
They are encouraged to put money in the coffers of big pharma and big food,
yeah,
not to look after their bodies. And when we're
yeah,
not taught how, and that's not something that's taught at school.
yeah,
So we need to educate ourselves how and why,
yeah,
and what will happen if we don't do what we should be doing.
yeah.
As you said, type 3 diabetes. There's a new thing called type
Oh,
3 diabetes,
all
which is
right.
dementia.
All right.
So
Yeah.
it's insulin resistance in the brain. So that's
Mm,
one of the major causes of dementia. There's
uh,
other things as well, including
yeah.
toxicity. But people don't know that. And that comes from eating too many carbohydrates. And big food have us eating a lot of carbohydrates because they're addictive and
Yeah.
because they make us feel good. They release chemicals in our brain like dopamine that make us feel good.
Yeah.
And it has us reaching for more and more. And when you're on that sugar high, you can't, and you hit, you sugar back up again. And it's like a roller coaster. Is keep those sugar level, for example. Um, so absolutely, it's lifestyle changes and
Yeah.
it's informing ourselves and being willing to put the work in,
Yeah.
and absolutely now for the future. So I have lots of clients who come to me who are well or feel well in themselves, but want to prevent disease in the future,
Yeah.
not
Yeah. I'm
just
not surprised.
remedying disease now. and
Yeah.
and that's great because you're right. I mean, dementia started 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't start when you're 85.
No.
And we need to put things in place now.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad, and there's plenty more up my sleeve if you want
Yes.
it, if you need it,
Yeah.
and that's great. Um, well, you've already answered my other questions in terms of whether or not you'd recommend me to other people you already
Yeah.
have, and I know that people have stopped you on your Nordic walking and said, "Inga, have you
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight?
Yeah.
What have you done?"
Yeah.
So, you're a fantastic advert for me
Yeah.
and for what I do, and it's worth saying that it's not just weight loss and hormonal issues and gastric problems I can deal with. It
Yeah.
once you understand how the body works and why it's doing what it does,
Yeah.
then you can deal with all sorts of conditions, which I
Yeah.
do love to do. Do you have any final comments before we ring off?
Yeah, no, just anybody who is even considering. I know that you offer a free initial consultation, and it's really worth doing that. I think it's all about if you're serious about your health and you want to, do give yourself the best possible chance, then I think people should go and have a chat with you and listen to your advice, and not be worried about it. You're going to tell them all sorts of things they don't want to hear. You probably are going to do that, but it's okay. I'm the person who least likes to be told what to do, and yet, you have a really lovely way of doing it to without making people feel bad. Um, which is really important. So I hope that came through because again, I can see that the screen is a bit crackly, but final message is essentially, if you want to be healthy and you're not right now, then go and speak to Andy.
Thank you so much, Inga. I really appreciate it, and I'm just so happy that you feel so well.
Yeah,
It's why I do what I do to help
lovely.
people. So
Right,
thank
I'll
you.
stop the recording now. So signing off to everyone.